Jordan Love was plagued by what, like about the 5th highest drop percentage among his wide receivers? I'm one of the people who believes he'll be top 5 this year. He has every tool in the book. He's got a great coaching staff. I think he's primed for a big year.
That when you look at Green Bay, that is a team. Yes, the Lions are the team to beat, but the Packers should be right there.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about my Green Bay Packers in tonight's video. I saw a power ranking article on Fox, and they had the Green Bay Packers at number 6, which is the number 2 ranked team in the NFC behind Philly, who was obviously number 1. And I really like this take, and I am a biased Green Bay Packers fan, and that is important to note at the beginning of this video, but this team is very good, and I am a full believer in Jordan Love. To be quite honest with you, and we know this at this point, it actually does not matter the sport. You could be talking about the NBA, you could talk about the NFL, you could even be talking about golf. Until you win a championship, people simply do not care. I mean, even look at Joe Burrow, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League for Cincinnati. They got to the Super Bowl a handful of years ago, lost, and now every single offseason and every single season, you see a bunch of rhetoric saying this guy is not a good quarterback, and it's like, okay, let's zoom out here. And that's kind of how I feel with Jordan Love. I remember watching Jordan's game against the comeback fourth quarter down like 17 points to the New Orleans Saints 2 years ago, and that was the first moment where I realized, or at least accepted, Jordan Love is the future of the Green Bay Packers. But when you look at this team, first off, he was injured last season. Jordan Love was injured various injuries at different points, whether it was week 1, whether it was mid-season and it affected his practice schedule. The Packers were a banged up football team, and I get it, that is not an excuse. And you have a bunch of teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Lions, even offensive line wise, especially the Minnesota Vikings. Sometimes it's just not your year, and that's the way I viewed, maybe it's from a fan's biasy perspective, but that's how I viewed the Green Bay Packers last year, where it's like, all right, well, if they didn't play the Philadelphia Eagles in the first round of the playoffs, they probably would have won a playoff game, and then maybe we would have a little bit of a different conversation. But some of their acquisitions, not only this year, especially this year with like Matthew Golden, and even in the first round, which is crazy, Savion Williams in the third round. It even started last year where the Green Bay Packers on like the first day of free agency spent a historical number of money on free agents, and it's something we've never seen before. And obviously it was Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney on the offensive and defensive side of the football, and you saw Josh Jacobs be one of the best running backs in the league last season. You saw McKinney, especially in the beginning of the season, the guy was intercepting pretty much every single football game. And so we look at guys like Matthew Golden, Savion Williams. I could even get depth-wise Anthony Belton, but also the acquisition free agent new left guard Aaron Banks. It's a well-coached group. I don't really get the Green Bay Packers hate, and I was happy to see that Fox threw them at 6 in their power ranking. So before we get any further, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. It's Wednesday, July 30th, and we have technically preseason, or the Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. We have preseason, like a week and a half away. I just kind of wanted to riff off the dome my thoughts on various football teams. So today we're doing the Green Bay Packers. When you look at this team on paper, it's there. It's truly there, and I don't have any defensive concerns. Really the only new acquisition as far as starters go defensively is going to be Nate Hobbs from Las Vegas, and obviously the loss of Jair Alexander. But here's the thing, I've kind of always had this take where defensive backs are a little bit overrated, or at least I'll reiterate that, let me reword that. People's views on the defensive back impact, I think, is a little bit overblown. Now, obviously, you need a good defense, and you need a good secondary, and you don't want to be like the Buffalo Bills the last year or so where they just get diced up when it comes to playoff time. I get it. But I've seen way too much hate. I've seen way too much disrespect on this Green Bay Packers secondary, and it's like, All right, Nate Hobbs, I've covered the Raiders for a few seasons. That dude is a baller. Xavier McKinney, don't even need a comment. Evan Williams is one of those guys at safety where if you watch the Green Bay Packers or you're a Green Bay Packers fan, literally no comment needs to be said. Keyshawn Nixon at DB has always been underrated and always been undervalued. And then Javon Bullard is coming off his rookie season. Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, some of those players do need to step up. We need to continuously see Rashawn Gary doing his thing. We need a better season from Lucas Van Ness. The linebacker room's loaded. You got Edgerrin Cooper, who's well on his way to becoming one of the best linebackers in the National Football League. And I probably always will be a Quay Walker supporter, but I know the fan base is a little bit split. I don't feel that same sentiment. I think Quay Walker is a very good linebacker. You got Isaiah McDuffie, who's good, old, reliable, consistent. The dude's a baller as well. Get a little bit younger, a little bit deeper. Tyron Hopper, I like it as well. So defensively, I don't have any concerns. Well, biasedly, like I've said for the third time in tonight's video, I'm a Jordan Love supporter. I'm a Jordan Love enthusiast. You know, people make fun of interceptions, and I've always found it really interesting. Like, it's not Aaron Rodgers where you're going to throw 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And even as a Packers fan, I think most fans honestly would probably agree with this sentiment. Like, especially in that last year, in Aaron Rodgers' last year with the Green Bay Packers, lost, week 18 to the Detroit Lions, which was, that was a tough day. That was a tough day. I remember being sick and in Mexico. That was a really double doink. Double doink, baby. Anyways, I'm big on Jordan Love, and I think interceptions in the NFL are severely overblown. Look at Patrick Mahomes. He continuously throws a little above 10 interceptions every single season, and no one really is disputing that he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and that obviously, as he's done it numerous times, you can win a Super Bowl with him. The biggest concern people have had is not Josh Jacobs. It's not the tight end room, which is also sneaky loaded with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, and it's not sneaky loaded unless you're a fan. The offensive line, I think, is perfectly fine. I even like the depth as well. The big things, no wide receiver one. So you got Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson when he comes back, Dontavian Wicks. I'm really hoping Malik Heath makes this roster. I'm a little bit concerned. You also got McCole Hardman, new pickup from Kansas City, and then the 2 new draft picks in Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. I know it's just training camp. Like, I get it. Matthew Golden is having a phenomenal training camp. Okay, it's training camp. Well, I don't really care. I think the guy's the real deal. And if you watched the University of Texas play football last season, if you watched college football, you also know Matthew Golden's the real deal. Like, nothing honestly even needs to be said. If you watched it last year, Matthew Golden, it was almost too good of a move from Green Bay, the fact that they drafted a wide receiver in the first round, and then also the fact that it's Mr. Reliable Hands, Matthew Golden. And then we got Jack of all trades, Savion Williams. So I'm very big on this team, but thank you for watching. That's it for tonight's riff. If you guys like videos like this, let me know down below. I could do it all day. But that's it. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. Give me a loose win-loss projection for the Green Bay Packers down below, and we'll see you soon. Peace.